What one calls real is not merely what exists, but what is experienced and interpreted. The human mind transforms raw data into categories, emotions, and symbols, thereby turning existence into meaning. The sunrise is not just light refracting through the atmosphere. It becomes beauty, hope, or the mark of another working day, depending on who observes it. The material world and the mental world merge in perception, binding subjective truth to objective possibility. Everything we call civilization, the cities, languages, systems of thought, exists because humans chose to shape reality rather than simply inhabit it. Architecture, science, and art are all expressions of our relentless urge to create order from chaos. Yet, within that creative act lies a strange irony. Even as we design and construct meaning, we drift further from nature's simplicity. The more refined our structures of belief, the more tangled our understanding of purpose becomes. We take comfort in the illusion of permanence, believing that what we build, achieve, or secure will last beyond us. But the truth, however inconvenient, remains that everything returns to its origin. Every life unfolds within a web of chance. The family we are born into, the era we inhabit, the opportunities we encounter, all of these are accidents of circumstance. And yet within that randomness, humans create narratives of destiny and choice. We tell ourselves stories about success and failure, merit and effort, as if the randomness of reality could be subdued by perseverance or willpower. This tension between chance and control defines the human journey. To live is to struggle, not necessarily out of necessity, but out of an intrinsic compulsion to seek more. We struggle for comfort, for power, for recognition, for love. Each generation inherits this restless momentum, believing that somewhere beyond the horizon lies an answer, a reward, or a justification. From the dawn of civilization, people have built monuments, economies, and philosophies to transcend their limitations, to mark their significance against the colossal indifference of time. Yet, much like ants in their colony, every effort, though purposeful in the moment, exists within a self-contained loop. The ant completes its task, only for the colony to rebuild after the storm. Humanity, in its ceaseless striving, does the same. We rebuild everything we lose, reimagine everything that decays, and reinvest meaning into the next cycle of struggle. The absurdity of this repetition does not dull its necessity. If anything, it defines us. 3. The autonomy of ants and the echo in humanity. To watch a colony of ants is to witness an organism composed of countless individuals, each performing their duty without hesitation or reflection. There is unity in their movement and precision in their purpose. The ant does not ask why, it simply acts. For humans, that same instinct takes on a philosophical dimension. Our actions, though equally driven by persistence, are complicated by self-awareness. We ask, we doubt, we reflect, and sometimes we despair. The resemblance between human and insect labor lies not in scale, but in essence. Both species strive toward survival and order. The difference is that humans possess consciousness, the capacity to see the futility of effort and yet continue anyway. This self-awareness, while a gift, often feels like a burden. It forces us to confront the absurd, the fact that all our ambitions, however grand, are destined for impermanence. The castles we build, be they of stone, status, or imagination, eventually crumble, returning to the source from which they arose. The philosopher Albert Camus described this tension through the myth of Sisyphus, condemned eternally to roll a boulder uphill, only to watch it roll back down again. The absurdity of that act mirrors our own condition. Yet Camus concluded that one must imagine Sisyphus happy, for in the defiant acceptance of absurdity lies freedom. Likewise, humans, aware of their inevitable return to dust, continue to live, love, and create. With no promise of permanence, only the vitality of the moment. The ant knows only duty, but the human knows meaning. Even if meaning is temporary, it remains profoundly real to the seeker. C'est-être, wealth, success, and the mirage of attainment. In the modern world, the pursuit of success has become the secular religion of our time. We measure life by productivity, accumulation, and visibility. The promise of wealth or recognition offers a sense of control over the chaos of existence, a shield against the anonymity of death. Yet beneath the glitter of achievement lies a deeper void. The more one attains, the more evident it becomes that satisfaction is fleeting, a mirage that recedes with every step forward. The human condition contains a strange irony. We sacrifice the present for the future, only to discover that the future is just another version of now. Achievement, like the ant's construction, begins to resemble ritual more than revelation. People toil for decades building empires or families, only to ask, when the noise settles, what it all meant. The pursuit of wealth or fame does not shield us from mortality. It merely distracts us from it. This realization does not suggest that success is meaningless, rather, it reframes it. The value of effort lies not in the permanence of what we build, but in the consciousness with which we build it. A sandcastle, beautiful and transient, holds no less meaning than a monument that endures for centuries. Both, in the grand scale of existence, will crumble. But one was built with joy, creativity, and presence. The other with fear of being forgotten. The distinction defines the quality of one's journey, not its outcome. B. The absurdity and beauty of the human struggle. To see life clearly requires a delicate balance between acceptance and rebellion. Acceptance acknowledges the inevitability of death and decay. Rebellion insists on creating meaning anyway. Between those two forces lies the full spectrum of human experience. We fall in love despite knowing it will end. We build despite knowing it will collapse. We dream despite knowing that time will erase us. And somehow these acts become the most profound expression of what it means to be alive. The absurd, then, is not an obstacle, but a revelation. It reminds us that meaning is not given. It must be created. The universe does not offer explanations. Only the human heart does. The absurdity of life and death does not render experience futile, but intensifies it. When one realizes that nothing lasts forever, every moment becomes infinitely precious. Like a musician performing a final note, awareness of transience deepens the beauty of sound itself. Camus, Tolstoy, and even Eastern mystics arrived at similar conclusions, that meaning arises not from the end goal, but from the act of living itself. The ant colony functions perfectly precisely because no ant questions its purpose. Humanity, though infinitely more complex, can achieve harmony only when it understands and embraces the impossibility of final answers. We cannot escape the cycle, but we can transform our experience within it, from a struggle for control into a dance of participation. 6. Returning to the source. All things eventually dissolve into the same silence from which they emerged. This return to the source, whether conceived as nature, divinity, or void, anchors the rhythm of existence. It is the common destination of all lives, regardless of wealth, belief, or ambition. Just as Play-Doh returns to its shapeless form after being molded into castles, so does life, after all its achievements, revert to essence. The process of returning, however, is not merely physical. It is psychological, spiritual, a gradual unmasking of illusion. As people grow older, the urgency of ambition often gives way to contemplation. The external structures that once defined identity, career, possessions, reputation, begin to lose meaning. What remains is a quieter awareness, a recognition that the self itself is only a temporary arrangement of experience within the infinite continuum of being. This realization, rather than leading to despair, can birth deep serenity. If life is transient, then nothing truly needs to be clung to. The great mistake of humankind is not that we strive too much, but that we expect our striving to promise permanence. The return to source is not punishment, but restoration, the reintegration of individuality into totality. Every wave that crashes onto the shore ultimately returns to the ocean. The end, therefore, is not annihilation, but reunion. 7. Meaning in the midst of impermanence. So if all effort dissolves, what then is the point? The answer lies in redefining what we seek. The point of life may not be to gain or hold, but to experience, to become aware. The beauty of creation lies in its impermanence. The meaning of struggle lies in the consciousness it awakens. To live fully is to recognize that even though nothing endures, everything matters while it exists. Just as ants labor without hesitation, perhaps humans are called not to halt the absurd, but to dance within it, to participate with awareness rather than resistance. The work of the artist, the parent, the scientist, and the farmer all share this sacred futility. Each task contributes not eternal results, but fleeting sparks of order and beauty within the grand chaos. Philosophically, the question shifts from what is the purpose of life to what kind of life best honors the absence of purpose. The answer may simply be one filled with authenticity, empathy, and creativity. The point of it all is not to transcend mortality, but to express vitality within it. When we act with awareness that every day could be our last, every act becomes sacred, every gesture an offering to the ephemeral nature of being. 8. The circle completed. Life, in all its complexity, is a circle that ends where it begins. From dust to breath, from effort to stillness, from form back to formlessness. Yet within that circle, every second vibrates with potential. The ant may never know why it builds, but it fulfills its nature by doing so. Humans, however, know that their structures will crumble, and still they build. That is our unique form of courage. Perhaps the ultimate wisdom lies not in escaping the cycle, but in seeing it clearly. We exist not to conquer the absurd, but to coexist with it, to find joy in the doing, humility in the failing, and peace in the returning. When one truly accepts the futility of permanence, life begins to glow with quiet intensity. The process becomes the purpose, the journey, the destination. So, what is the point of it all if one can neither stand to stay nor walk away to reach any lasting height? The point, paradoxically, may be that there doesn't need to be one. Life is not a means to an end, but an unfolding, a momentary expression of the infinite encountering itself. We are the Play-Doh shaped and reshaped by existence, the ants that labor without knowing, the consciousness that reflects upon itself in wonder. And when we finally return to the source, it will not be as failures, but as completed forms, each one having lived, struggled, and perceived just as we were meant to.